like everybody was so hyped when that trailer dropped.
Yeah.
I just saw shit everywhere. Because also, I feel like that's probably one of the biggest movies in a while to have a trailer drop since like Dune probably,
Dylan,
and like not that many
you
people are
son
excited
of
for
a
Dune as would be
bitch.
for like a Godzilla movie.
Oh yeah. No. There's no way. It's not even. It's
Yeah.
not even. You can't even compare the two.
No, not
You
really.
can't even
I
compare the
mean,
two.
I guess you kind of can because it's there's a little bit of like fan as
I
far
would
as like
say.
focusing, but like as far as like broad appeal, like
I would
Godzilla has way
say
more broad appeal.
Dune has a much
Dune
narrow
is very niche.
focused.
Yes.
The Dune is much like Blade Runner, where like
Yeah.
you're dialing into a very specific audience, whereas like Godzilla, it's like
Yeah.
okay, everyone knows Godzilla. They might
Yeah.
not have seen Godzilla, but everyone knows
Hmm.
the name Godzilla.
And even more than that, I feel like more people probably know King Kong.
It again another name where you might not know who Batman is, like the character, or what
Yeah.
Superman is, but when you see Batman versus Superman, it's gonna make money, like because
Yeah.
there's two people you fucking know. Whereas Dune is like, all right,
Yeah.
who the fuck, Paul? That's my
I would
hero.
agree. Yeah, that it definitely hits that like Blade Runner. It's very hardcore sci-fi top audience for sure. Yeah.
It's like nothing. I'd be very surprised if Dennis ever makes a mainstream movie.
I feel like Blade Runner was probably like his closest one because I mean Blade Runner's a cult movie, but like as far as like popular properties, that's probably like the most popular thing he'll ever do.
He has to be getting courted by Marvel to do something. Star
Maybe.
Wars.
I don't know. I feel like he's too artsy for that. Because I mean, you've seen when they have like they try to have artsy people when they have like Edgar Wright come in, and then he tries to do shit that's too weird, and they're like, nah.
Well, I'm trying to think of all the directors who did Marvel movies. I'm trying to think of people who
I
would be
mean, Taika
artsy.
Waititi is probably like the most out there one.
Yeah, because he's a comedian guy.
Yeah, but that's also probably
You know,
yeah why it works
they
so
could
much.
get Dennis if they're like, hey, I don't know what character he would do, but I mean,
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I could see him doing like the Inhumans or the Eternals or something like that. Something that's kind of like out there with like a tinge of like
I
sci-fi
think
to
they're
it.
too. I think they're too. They're still quasi normal.
Yeah,
Because
but I mean, as far as like his niche, I feel like his niche would be something that's like it's got to be something that's like super abstract and out
that's why I
there.
think Inhumans, just because they're the X Men in space. So to me, that's
Yeah.
like very basic.
Honestly, I
So
could see him being ported for like DC to do like a Mr. Miracle, especially after that last run of Mr.
it would be
Miracle.
something. But
I feel
even
like he could do a really good Mr. Miracle.
but even then, that's taking Tom King's Mister Miracle, which I mean, Mister Miracle it's never like that fucking
Yeah, that's true.
depressing. It's just that his particular style of that character. But if
Yeah.
you take a character who's super duper, like I could see Dennis do. I mean, obviously Sandman's already coming out on Netflix. That's too.
I saw that they released the cast list for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like that's something Dennis would do, like
Hmm.
Sandman or something.
Yeah.
Something super duper like Neil Gaiman, ethereal and like questioning.
Yeah,
Different
for sure.
metaphysical and all this kind of spiritual, all this kind of
I'm
shit.
trying to think of like a comic book recently that like kind of hits that note. I think maybe like I could see him doing like the Manhattan Project. That's probably the one thing that I could see that like kind of fits into his niche. Although that's a little too goofy for him, but I feel like he could make it work.
Well, we're talking just a big two. I
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't know
yeah.
what Marvel character. There's someone there. You
There I
can
mean, I'm sure there's some obscure person that he could do, yeah, but
pick some.
but also if you're going to do obscure people then like what's going to be the draw?
Maybe not even obscure, but they would have to do something like it would have to be like yeah, like Mr. Miracle, where it's like a particular storyline
Yeah.
is super duper, Dennis style.
Yeah, it'd also be weird though. I mean, I guess they could just have another director do it, but I could never see him doing a sequel, so it'd be like a one and done thing with him.
But they're doing the Vision shit. Like they're doing Tom King's Vision, which is pretty much Tom King's Mr. Miracle. It's like the
Right.
same kind of vein. They're doing
Hmm.
that right now in One Division, so he can't even do that because
Yeah.
they're already doing that shit kind of.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. I would like to see him do something super because I think he would be. Obviously, we'll see how he does it in Dune,
Hmm.
but I'd be interested to see him do like a massive budget ass movie where it's like a bunch of action
Yeah.
sequences. It'd be interesting
I'd
to
be,
see.
I'd be interested to see what he does with like a popular IP.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
or even like I was reading rating Jurassic Park like however long ago, like
Mm-hmm.
a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much different than the movie. And
Oh, it's
I
so
was
much
like,
different.
dude, if he made like Andromeda Strain or some other Michael Crichton book that's like super duper questioning fucking humanity and science and like
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff and it's like super like dense. He that's kind of how like Arrival is, I assume. Like it's like this hard
Yeah.
sci-fi type of story. But when it comes to the superhero shit, I mean, like, you know, they have to be out there putting feelers to all these like successful directors. You know, they are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I,
that's kind of how they got like Waititi. I feel like,
yeah, it is. I would assume, but even then, he wasn't a big name
but
like
even
that.
then, I guess he wasn't that big before Thor. I mean, he did what we do in the shadows, but
That wasn't
yeah,
massive.
I
That
don't
was
really
no,
know if he had anything like super popular before that.
no. I think their biggest, all the directors they got. Kenneth Branagh is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, Jon Favreau was kind of small before he did Iron Man.
He did like a couple movies, but he wasn't an action movie guy. It
No.
wasn't like they like busted out Iron Man, got the Wachowskis to do it.
Yeah.
Or you'd
Well,
be
they
like,
had
oh
Shane Black,
shit.
I guess, for Iron Man
But
3.
that's after 5 or 6 movies of,
Yeah,
and even then Shane Black's not like he's not known to be a director. He's known to be a writer.
that's
You
true.
know, he's directed movies here or there that were good, but not like he was Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
where DC is theoretically they have the better known names directing the
I mean, as far
movies.
as like what people think of superheroes, yeah, I mean they've got Batman, Superman, and
No,
Wonder
no,
Woman.
just tell the directors like Patty Jenkins is
Oh,
like a like
um,
how do you not? She did Monster. Like that's a fucking Oscar award winning
yeah,
movie.
she did Monster, but like they also had like Zack Snyder, who's like kind of been like
But he has a name. He's a name for himself.
so
So
on everybody's radar. Yeah, but he's like more of like a I would consider him a more like I guess controversial is not a right word, but like
he's an
he's
action
definitely
guy.
not a beloved actor
No,
or
but he's
not a
definitely
beloved
he's a
director.
director where you go, okay, this dude's made money.
Yeah,
Like he's made money. It's not like fucking John Favreau like we're swingers. Like what the okay? I mean,
yeah,
that was 15 years before that. Like you don't know for sure. But
right.
Zack Snyder, like you like technically like okay, his dudes make it's like it would be like if we're trying to get like I'm trying to think of an equivalent to Zack Snyder. It would be someone like fucking some other
Uh,
Eli
I guess it
Roth or
would be
some
somebody who like
bullshit.
tried to.
Robert Rodriguez. It'd be like that, which I'm surprised they haven't even tried. If that's even been a thing, he should do that. Because if he did like a fucking Marvel movie, that'd be
Yeah,
fucking rad.
yeah. I mean, I really liked Alita Battle Angel that he did.
Yeah, that was
That's
fun.
a super fun movie.
Super good time. All right, guys, this is License View. This is a weekly podcast where we get together, talk about pop culture news and movies, anime, TV shows, comic books, all that kind of shit. I still
Yes,
have yet to find or really look for 3D Doritos, and I'm really sad about it.
dude. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot that I found both kinds at my Walmart. They got the big bags, so I ate both of them.
Shit.
Um, they were a little more spicier than I were expecting,
Whoa.
or that I remember. I'm not a super spice guy, so they were like, they got some flame on my tongue.
Okay.
Um, but I think I like the chili ones more than the red better than the blue. The
And they're
blue is like spicy ranch, I think, or something like that.
didn't they put there's no just regular ass flavor, regular nacho cheese?
No, it's like the red one is like it's like chili something,
Okay.
and then the blue is like I'm pretty sure it's like spicy
Right.
ranch.
I'll find some tomorrow. This weekend I'll look for them because I want to try them before they're gone.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um.
I think I went that day that we talked about in the podcast. I went to Walmart and I was able to find
Okay.
both the bags. So
Yeah, I need to find both of those. I need to keep. I'm still keeping an eye out on all my upcoming soda releases.
mhm.
I keep my Pepsi Blue in the radar because if
Yeah.
I miss that shit, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I missed the
You
Stranger.
gotta check on Amazon. I'm sure you can at least buy a pack from Amazon.
Oh yeah, I'll be on eBay if I miss it.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
I missed the Stranger Things new Coke. I missed that when that shit dropped. I was so pissed off at
Oh
myself
yeah,
for
I
missing
forgot
that.
about that. I forgot that dropped, honestly.
Yeah, I missed. Now it's all now I can't. Now it'll be all bad. So
Yeah.
I can buy a case of it for the overpriced money, but it wouldn't taste good.
No, yeah, it'd be super old.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's Friday night.
It is.
Zach,
Hmm.
what have you been checking out, dude? Anything good?
Dude, dude. This is a good ass week for anime.
Oh, really?
I mean, we start off the week fucking Pedal the Metal Man, Attack on Titan, episode 7 of the final season aired,
Oh.
and shit's getting fucking real, dude. I can't even deal with it right now. We got the Wormhammer Titan shit like that.
Yeah.
Got Aaron being fucking Neo Hitler, almost. It's weird though, because I was discussing this. I've talked to you about this a bit. That me and my coworker are basically watching this at the same time.
Right.
It's like we always have the discussion after each new episode now, and it's just like Attack on Titan is at. I think it's at the sweet spot where it brings up tough moral questions, where it's hard to tell who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, because it's definitely
because there isn't
like,
one.
No, there's not, because
Yeah.
it's definitely clear that like he's taking the perspective change, especially with this final season, of really putting the focus on Marley. That it's like there are good people and bad people on both sides. And I mean, it goes back to the old cliche of like, history is written by the victors, and so as far as who comes out looking like the bad guy and who comes out looking like the good guy, it depends on who wins in the end. And I mean, especially
well, they really
a couple episodes back now, but they talk about in Declaration of War is basically the whole like climax of the episode is the fact of the guy talking about the fact that the whole history behind the people on Paradise and like the Eldians and like that, it's all built on the lie that like Eldians are these monsters and they have all these monsters and stuff like that. And it's like, no, there's just these people that are stuck on this island because this king saw, mass genocide happening around him, and so he basically separated himself off from the world.
And it really like the entire first half of the show, if you want to call it first half, three-fourths, whatever of the show, you're like,
seasons.
or the manga, whatever. You're like, man, I really hate all these guys who came and infiltrated this island. Like, fuck them. And then immediately, you're like, okay. When you get to the time skip, you're like, okay, are they really bad? And you show that how like they're treated like shit too.
Oh yeah, that, and they're like, I mean, they're completely brainwashed. Especially they sent them over, and they're like
they're in fucking
kids.
They're in camps. Like you're like, okay, this is literally a Jewish.
I mean, they're basically treated like Jews.
They're
it's
like
a very bad metaphor for like they're basically Jews that turned into giant monsters.
Yeah,
and they're like
they're given the power, and some of them is because it's honor. The other times it's because you want to take it so that your other family members don't have to take it. It's like
you take it for that, and then I mean, it's basically you basically. Especially with taking the Titan power, you basically sacrifice yourself so that your family can like live a better life in society.
So it's like from the get-go, you're like, unless you're a crazy person like me, where I'm like reading it and being like, no, Aaron's still right. Automatically.
I mean, I was talking to my coworker back then, and we were both just like, I mean, Aaron's still right.
Yeah, like, no, Aaron killed all of them.
None of this would have happened if, well, first of all, it's all Reiner's fault, obviously, because it's him. Because he's the one that pushes Annie and Bertold to keep going on with the mission, and so it's 100% his fault that Aaron's mom got killed. Because if Aaron's mom hadn't got killed, he wouldn't have had the mindset to want to kill all the Titans. If he hadn't had the mindset to kill all the Titans, he wouldn't have pushed as far as he had. So I mean, it's 100% Reiner's fault, but also, I mean, Aaron's right.
I mean, if there's any, I know what's gonna happen at the end of the series. Aaron's gonna die, and that's what's gonna happen, and that pisses me off because I want him to fucking rush the fucking Capitol building and just be like, "I'm fucking God."
Dude, I gotta tell you, is that first of all, it's weird because it's like they take you from the Molly perspective and they specifically show you like the group of like kids that are supposed to be like Titan candidates, and I hate all of them except for the main boy Falco, but they keep putting the emphasis on this Gabby girl. And every time I see her on screen, I'm like, fuck this chick. Fuck this chick 100%. Like, she's a fucking bitch. Like, I fucking hate her.
Yeah.
She has a terrible personality. She's like Aaron on steroids. Like, it's fucking awful. And, like, I hated young Aaron. Like, him as a protagonist, he's, like, so fucking annoying. And she's basically him, like, on steroids. But then also everybody treats her like she's the fucking bee's knees.
Yeah.
And at least everybody treated Aaron like he was dog shit until he turned into a Titan.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, fuck you, dude.
But even then, they're like, we don't trust you now.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the thing about it too is, because I mean, they're all Titan candidates. So there's not really the air of like distrust outside of like the general Eldian distrust that everybody else has. It's not like it's specifically targeted at her.
No, just the whole rest of the fucking country hates you because you're a fucking...
But I mean, these past like 2 or 3 episodes is like Everybody came back, dude. Sasha, fucking potato girls, looking like fucking G being a sniper.
Yeah.
Connie has hair, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Jean looks dope as fuck. And then Aaron and Mikasa and my boy Levi showed up. Levi looked fucking great. Can't believe he showed up. It's weird though, because it's they showed up and they all have the it's I guess it's supposed to be a mix of like the anti-personnel 3D gear that like the military police had.
Yep.
But then it also shows the fact that like Mikasa still has swords, like she pulls out blades.
Yep.
It's like some sort of hybrid. But then Levi shows up in like just the traditional 3D gear.
Sorry,
and I was like,
I
mean, I get it. I guess it's from. I was talking to the court, and she was basically like, "Well, it's probably like he's probably protective because like it's his gear.
Yeah.
So he probably has that like it's kind of thing where it's just like you don't give up your weapon.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of has that aspect to it. But it's like I don't know. If I had a better version of my weapon, I would probably like put that on instead of like this old janky ass shit. But
well, he was good with that. So
yeah, that's true. And then oh my god, this episode was the episode when oh my god, when Armin shows back up, and I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
He fucking turns to the Colossal Titan, and it's just like a fucking nuclear bomb explodes. And then he has the great line where he's just like, he looks down at like everything that's happened, and he's like, "Is this what you saw?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is exactly what Bertolt saw when he fucking destroyed the wall and just sees like this destruction that is around it."
Yeah, while you're talking, I just had a flashback to when I was reading the manga, and I just realized that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Especially this ending one is like basically their initial assault's over and they all retreated, and I can't wait because they teased it a little bit in the preview that like you're about to see that like they had hints of it with like dialogue and stuff, but like not everybody is gung ho about Aaron's plan.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see like the actual like not just their conflict with Marley, but also like their inter-conflict with like Aaron basically wanting to commit genocide against not just like one group of people, but against like the entire world that doesn't live on the island. So
hey man, can you blame him though? Like I said.
No, I mean they basically destroyed his entire life. So
yeah, they kill everyone. They kill his dad, they kill his mom. Fuck it.
Kills dad, kills mom, kill his mentor, the man that he looked up to.
This is what you get, man. This is the revenge.
Yeah, and then oh my god, there were so many great points this episode. The episode was also with the Beast Titan showing back up, and he was like, he wants the rematch with Levi.
Yeah,
he was like, "Come out, Levi," and then Levi just like has that like split second where the Beast Titan gets distracted. And he's like, "Get done, bitch," and just takes him out. And I was like,
"Oh, yeah. I have flashbacks to that too." Did they reveal? They revealed him already, right?
Who?
The Beast Titan.
Yeah, that it's Zeke. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like season 3, part 2.
Okay. And I love that idea.
That, like, which idea?
Of Zeke. I think that's the coolest thing. Like, this is your only remaining family left.
Yeah.
And do you kill him?
Basically, yeah. Except for Aaron's like, I guess step grandparent. No, they're still his grandparents because there's his dad's.
Yeah, but they're fuck them.
No, they had the great scene. It was a couple episodes back now, but they had the great scene where Aaron met. I don't think he realized it at first, but he definitely realized it later on. But he basically met his grandpa because his grandpa at some point like got put into like a mental asylum, or something like that. It was like a POW or not a POW.
The old guy in the bench and stuff, right?
Yeah, and he like goes crazy and like I was like, oh dude, like that's his grandpa, and his grandpa's insane. But yeah, it's like Zeke's like his only real family left.
Because he's gonna get with Mikasa, right?
Fuck, dude.
Like before the end of the show.
I mean, Mikasa wants to get with him, but
no, before the end of the show, they're gonna have kids, like for sure.
Oh, I don't know.
I get 100% guaranteed. They're gonna have at least one baby. I don't know if
he really even thinks of her like that. I mean, he still just looks at her with the same dead eyes.
Yeah, he's going to. She's gonna bring him back from the edge of genocidal maniac, and he's gonna be like,
that's not really Mikasa's character at all. The one who's been like the stone cold bitch for like 3 seasons is gonna be the one that like brings him back. I don't know.
She's been doing that shit the whole time.
I don't know. I feel like Armin would be the one more to bring him back. He's always been the one that's been like closer to Aaron, like emotionally and like as a friend.
Sure, as a
I feel like he would be
bro.
the one to like bring him back.
No,
I feel like that would also be like a more compelling character arc for
I
like
think
Armin.
Aaron would just be like, you don't understand.
Yeah,
Like you don't understand Armin, and then
that's.
Mikasa would be like, yeah, but this pussy does. This pussy does. Um,
uh,
like I said, I'm excited to watch it once over. So, oh,
yeah.
what else have you been checking out, dude?
So the other big thing that I was checking out was that I think you actually talked about this a couple months ago, but I
Okay.
went and I've started to rewatch SG-1,
Right.
and
Perfect.
fuck, dude,
I
it's a
started
fun
rewatching
show,
it too.
dude. I mean, it's like I was thinking about it as I was watching it, and it's just like, I mean, it's basically Star Trek but without spaceship travel. Instead, it's just
Oh,
like instantaneous.
pause. We got to pause there, dude. Okay.
It's Star Trek, basically.
Okay.
I mean, it has the same initial
All
like
right.
episode
Let's
setup as Star Trek, where it's like either you
yes.
have 2 times the episode, which is typically
Yes.
they either go to a new world and there's some sort of conflict that comes on that new world with an alien species or something like that, or there is the base conflict, which basically takes the place of like the conflict on the Enterprise, something going wrong with
Yes, but
Enterprise.
the difference between the two shows, which if you go on Reddit or anywhere and search it up, there's a lot of common questions, which is this. You can see it on the Stargate Reddit, which is I'm a big fan of, which is
Mm-hmm.
if I like Stargate, will I like Star Trek? And people are like, most likely yes, because it's sci-fi, right? And
Yeah.
my reaction to that is this. It is literally 50-50 because Star Trek is this non-military non-combatants who are exploring,
Yeah.
whereas Stargate is purely based on the military combatants looking for weapons to defend Earth.
There's part of that, but then it's also like, I mean, there definitely is more of a military aspect to it, but I think it also takes it. I mean, specifically with like Colonel O'Neill, I think for sure, but I think with the inclusion of like Doctor Jackson, and then you've got Captain Carter too, which is more of like the scientific
Sure.
explorer mindset to it.
But
I
look at
think you
this
get a
though.
little mix of both
There are
with
the
SG.
literal rules of Star Trek, which is do not interfere.
Yeah, and that was interesting because I think in like the first 5 episodes, they definitely have that dilemma of
Yeah.
like
Do we
I think it's
help
like this.
these?
I think it's like the third episode where they're like,
Do we help
we
these
shouldn't
people?
interfere, and then the colonel, or I think it's Captain Carter, is just like, fuck it, we're just gonna
Yes.
interfere anyways.
Stargate's like this. Listen, we are Americans, and we're gonna do what the fuck we
Oh, it's
want.
definitely got the American
Yes, we're
mindset.
gonna do what the fuck we want. And Star Trek, they will go into so many episodes with no phasers. Every mission
Yeah,
is fucking MP5.
I think the biggest difference between SG and Stargate or Star Trek for sure is probably the missing of a prime directive from
Well, I mean,
SG.
their prime directive is locate new technology to defend Earth. That's the
Well,
prime
I guess the
directive.
difference in prime directive,
It's
yeah.
the difference of like we're not explorers for the sake of exploring and observing. We're going to find to defend Earth from the Gould, from other bad guys who come to attack the mother
Yeah.
planet. That's the goal, you know. Um, that's the whole, and that's the biggest difference. Like that's why I like it more than anything else because I like the military stuff. I like the action, and Jack slash MacGyver has
Mm-hmm.
no problem fucking dropping bodies.
No, he
Whereas
has no problem killing
like
people.
Picard or Riker will be like, hey, let's see if we can converse this out. Whereas O'Neill's like, blah 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 blah. And then Daniel's like, oh no, we shouldn't have that. But then Daniel's like, blah, 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 blah. So like,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's definitely an episode where it's like, you think you would take like the pacifist route, and there's like a thing where it's like, I think there's like a nest of like golds before they get into Jafar or whatever,
yeah.
and he's basically like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and kill them. They're dead.
Well, it's like
They're like, oh, that's kind of. It's almost like it's weird because it's like it feels like it should be out of character, but his characterization in the show makes it easy to understand why he would do what he does.
He cannot stand Gould.
No, I mean they kidnapped his wife.
Kidnapped his wife.
Yeah,
You know,
and
then
turned her into Gould. So
it's like there's always been that comparison between like Teal'c and like Worf.
I get very strong Data and Spock.
No, it's Worf.
Oh, I don't know too much about Worf.
I'm pretty sure his name is Worf.
I
Again,
feel like I get Spock things because it feels like he's very emotional. Except for the episode that I saw where he goes back to see his family. That was like the most emotion I've ever seen him pronounce.
here's
Where it's
why he's
like
compared.
got personal for him, but other than that, I mean, he feel like he's a very emotionless character.
The comparison to Worf, and I'm pretty sure his name is Worf,
Yeah.
is because they're both not because they're both black dudes, but because they're warrior races.
Hmm.
Both those races are warrior people who have to control their emotions to win in combat, and they have all these ceremonial battles, and they have all these different and brandings and all this kind of particular weaponry that they use to fight in these ceremonial combat. So that's why they're the same kind of like. It's gonna be the Jaffa and then whatever the Worfs. I think they're Klingon or
Klingon.
whatever, right? So shit like that. So if I like the aggressive tactic of SG-1, I like
Hmm.
that also because it's not about the future; it's about Earth now.
No, yeah, it's present. Yeah.
It's like if in 1997 we found out that those gates worked, we're like, okay, shit, what are we gonna do? What the
Yeah.
fuck are we gonna do? You know, we're in Cheyenne Mountain. What the fuck are we gonna do?
We're gonna first of all make a protection on the gate so that other people can't get through if we don't want them to.
Yeah, dude, I love because I just started rewatching it too.
Hmm.
Um, not from the beginning, but from season 6 where I left off.
Okay.
And I love whenever they close the iris and you hear the fucking
Oh,
thuds.
you just hear the
You're
thumps.
like,
Yeah.
dude, those people are just fucking.
So
Their
that was the thing that always
atoms
made.
are just
So it's
destroyed.
like it's not very clear that like. So do they just bump and they just die, or do they bump and they bump back to where they
No,
came from?
I think the iris closes. I think what happens is that, and they probably explain it at some point. I just don't remember. I think
Yeah.
because you break down into molecules.
Right.
I think you just hit that, and then your molecules just are destroyed from hitting that, and they're displaced forever.
Hmm.
Because eventually the gate will close. So I think
Right.
you're just lost in the slipstream, or you just whatever,
That's fucking
or maybe
terrifying.
you reform because you're going to exit, and then you splatter against the gate.
That's also terrifying.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And the
Um.
Air Force is like, yeah, come get some.
Yeah. Come get some.
I
I like the world building in the show a lot too. I specifically like. Um. I mean the grounding for the show of like. First of all, it's clear that like the show didn't have a lot of money, so the fact that it's very clear that like okay, a lot of aliens look like humans. This is why they look like humans. And
yes,
this is why a lot of places look like Earth. They look like
yes,
humans because humans were basically spread across the
yes,
galaxy because they're easy to be
yes.
enslaved.
It is
And a lot
the
of places look like Earth because the
yes
Goa'uld
needed.
terraformed a
Yeah,
lot of
it
worlds.
is the smartest.
Yeah.
Whereas in this old Star Trek, it's like, hey, all these aliens are people with little dots on their heads, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? You had no budget. Whereas Stargate's like, listen, we got to work around,
Yeah.
and this is
I mean,
why,
they have an actual in universe reason for why
and this
most
is
people just look
why,
like us,
and
and
this is
that's really smart.
and this is why so many different planets are in different time periods
Yeah.
because they evolve at different
Most of them take
rates.
place in ancient
It's
history,
like,
but yeah.
dude, fuck yeah, dude, so smart.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And I love how stupid the fucking Jaffa stick is. It is so dumb.
Dude, it's so
It
overpowered.
makes
It
no
makes no
sense.
sense.
Why?
It makes bolts of energy and it has no like ammo capacity, so it just
Yeah.
can do it forever.
I
It's so
love that.
broken.
It makes no sense. Why would you make the weapon so big?
Also that too, yeah, that it's huge.
You
Because it's
know,
basically a phaser, but it's like a long ass
it's like
phaser.
well, it's like a I wouldn't call it a phaser because it's a
The
one
phaser
hit
has like
kill.
a it
It's a
has like a
yeah, but it's a one hit kill though. The phaser is like one to stun, two to kill.
there's like a non-stun version of the phaser, right?
Yeah, it's one blast phases you, and then it's two blasts to kill you. Whereas the
Oh.
Jaffa stick is one hit fucking kill all the time.
Oh yeah, there's no stun with the jab stick.
There's
It's
no
just like
stunning with
dead.
that bitch. It's
You're
like
just dead.
you have a fucking burn mark in your hole, in your chest. Um, I had the biggest crush on Sam Carter growing up.
Dude, Captain Carter. Oh boy. Mm.
Even now, Amanda Tapping at 50 some years old.
Dude, honestly, I'm liking the Doctor character a lot. She
Oh
doesn't show up
yeah,
in every episode when she shows up.
yeah,
I also recognize her face. I don't know where I recognize her from, but like I know you're in some other shit.
probably just like the general.
Yeah, well,
It's like Hammond.
the general is in Twin Peaks.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Twin Peaks. He's in some other stuff too. Cause I mean, I knew him because I mean, I watched SG-1 a long time ago, and I watched Atlantis was the big one. I think I've seen like almost every episode of Atlantis. Which thinking back on it, I don't think I like it as much as SG-1.
Oh, it's not even a question, bro.
But
It's not even a question.
but yeah, I mean, I knew General Hammond from SG-1 before I knew him in Twin Peaks. Like I saw him in Twin Peaks, and I was like, oh, that's the guy from SG-1.
You literally have hot doctor lady, you have smart architect man, you have Kratos, and you have MacGyver.
Yeah, basically Kratos. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like you basically have like all normal people, and then you also have like a superhuman in that as well.
I love
to basically like do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I love the my favorite part about SG-1, besides it just being a fun show, is that like they, because it's military SF like through and through. Even when they propose the questions, like Daniel's questions about like what should we do for like ethical reasons or whatever, and Jack's like, let's just fucking save these people because they're gonna die.
Yeah,
and so that's more so to me, like that's the more initial reaction than a Star Trek reaction, which would be like, no, they have to evolve on their own.
Well, Daniel always seems to always start out with like the typical Star Trek reaction.
Yeah.
And then either Jack or Captain Carter is like, no, we're gonna do this because of blah blah blah.
Well, it goes back to the fact that he's a archaeologist, and then they're soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So like to them, like the life is what matters. He's like, yeah, it does, but also the history and the studying, whatever.
Yeah.
I love that show, man. I love the fact that there's more than one SG team.
Yeah,
like they're not,
I like that. It's sad that you don't really see much of it until other shows, but it's always just like it's focused around that particular show or that particular team for whatever show it is. But I do like that. Yeah, there's
not even that. There's 12 teams at Cheyenne Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see them until they start dying.
You
know? Like you
don't see them unless something is going severely wrong.
Yeah, like they break down what each team does. Like there's like exploratory teams, there's weapon looking teams, there's medic teams, like SG something, whatever. And to me that's super cool because SG-1 is just the first team, but they're not like the best team.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the team that we follow. The show could have been about SG fucking 8.
Yeah.
And it could have been just as good or whatever. So I like it's still. I love that there's still the rank structure. So there's rules you have to follow. There's still like the conflict between General Hammond, who has to play the politician, and Jack, who's like, yo, I was retired, bitch. You guys brought me in, this motherfucker. I was retired, y'all brought me back. Also, the first 2 episodes of the show are so fucking good. The premiere episodes are
the pilot and the second episode are really good.
Yeah. And then
I like Apophis as a villain a lot. He does. It's not every episode that has to deal with him, but when he does show up, I'm like, this is gonna be good.
He's a recurring pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then when you meet the other,
I've only seen him show up. He's only been in one because I'm only about 12 episodes into season 1, but he's only really shown up one other time since. Yeah, it's really just one other time since the pilot, really. But he's always that. I mean, it's he's the big bad. He's always that recurring presence. It's always felt.
Yeah, the season I'm in right now, season 6. I'm on episode like 5 or 6, I think. This is the season when without Daniel. So it's like...
Oh, I didn't know Daniel left.
Yeah, I would tell you, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
Unless you're not going to get to season whatever.
I'll probably get there eventually.
Okay, so. I'm not going to say anything. He comes back eventually. But some storyline in season 5 takes him away, and then he comes back eventually. Yeah, great show. Fantastic show. Yeah. I literally I like 3 days ago when I started rewatching it, or trying to start up again, first thing I did was type in Star Trek Next Generation. And then people on Reddit were like, just skip the first 2 seasons. They're not that good. So I go to season 3, I hit play.
I think Mike and Rich talked about that because I think they talked about the fact that I think they specifically talked about it with like their best of episodes because it was like they talked about the first 2 seasons of Next Generation. They're trying to be like OG Star Trek.
Right.
And then it's like, that's not what you should be. And then I think season 3 is when they figured out that
that's what everyone says on Reddit.
Like is online,
apparently the consensus is you can skip the first two, and if you're watching it for the first time, and start at 3 when they really have their footing down. So I start the first episode of 3. I go, oh, okay. I'm in it for a minute and a half. I hit back. I go to Deep Space Nine, episode 1, hit play. Okay, I watched like 30 minutes of it. I'm like, okay, back. Stargate SG-1, 4 episodes in a row, whatever. It's just a personal preference. I maybe one day I'll watch Star Trek because I want to so I want to so
I want
bad.
to watch Next Generation really bad. I mean, especially after Jay and or not Jay, fucking Jay hates Star Trek.
Mike.
After Rich and Mike have talked about it so much, I really, especially when they've talked about their top 10 episodes or whatever, it makes me want to go back and watch it just because they love it. They clearly love it so much and for very particular reasons. I kind of want to see if I can get that enjoyment out of it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like.
But I'm
Star Trek is always that thing. It's like that beast. It's like it's one of those TV shows that always feels like too big for me to just dive into.
Well, here Stargate has ran longer than any Star Trek show, and I'm fine with the point now in my life where I feel like I don't have to. I want to get into it, Star Trek, but if I don't, and I don't think I will, I'm okay because I have Stargate.
Yeah.
I have the show that I like from when I was a kid. I have X-Files, whatever, but Stargate obviously being the more comparable to.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't stop me from trying, and I try really hard every year to watch Star Trek, really watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get an episode in every single time. I go, this is fucking boring.
Yeah, I think I think it was like a year ago that I tried to start watching OG Star Trek, and I think I got like 2 or 3 episodes in. It wasn't boring, but it got to the point where it's just like I don't know if I really want to do another episode. Like it wasn't boring, it just didn't capture. I guess it didn't capture my attention as much as I thought it would. I haven't played, Next Generation or anything yet, but it was like OG Star Trek. I got 3 episodes in. Like the storylines are interesting. Like the concepts around each individual episode is interesting to me, but I don't know. It doesn't have that.
Dude, the first episode
of just popping in another episode of SG-1.
The first episode of TNG was the very season 1 episode 1 when I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong because it's a year ago, but it was the whole conflict was on the bridge and they're talking to the fucking viewfinder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Episode 1 SG-1, the fucking base gets invaded. Oh my, that's fucking rad. That's fucking TV.
It's like the first 5 minutes.
That's fucking TV.
Yeah.
And we have fucking Egyptian people. Excuse me?
Yeah, people with giant serpent heads with fucking phaser lances.
It's not even a question of what show that me particular, because it's MacGyver and he's gonna go play Rambo. Yeah, dunzo. Whereas Star Trek, again, they're wearing jumpsuits, no holsters, no guns. They have a little phaser remote. The ships are cool looking. But
I think that's the one thing that really kind of falls out with Star Trek is there's really not too much. There's really not too much technology. It's always in the search for technology. Maybe it gets more later on, but for the first 12 episodes, there's not really too much. I mean, you've got the lances.
Stargate, you mean?
You've got the Stargate. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you've got the lances. You've got the palm shit that can do whatever.
Yeah.
It's the fucking, I don't know. It does whatever the story wants it to do. And then there's a couple of ships, but there's really not a whole lot of technology in it so far.
Well, that does change.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is because remember the gates were a system to connect planets to their slavers.
Right.
So why of all the gate options, or the gates were used to connect the slavers to the slave, whatever. Obviously they were placed there by the ancients or whatever the fuck. But eventually they hit super technology, but of the fucking out of 10 gates, I would assume.
I mean, look, all I know is that eventually they hit Atlantis, and then that all shit just pops off.
Yeah, I mean that's
goes to dumbass
season 5 or 6 when that happens.
Oh, is Atlantis concurrent with SG-1?
Yeah.
At one point? Okay.
Yeah, I think season 6 is when I think 5 or 6, I could be wrong. And then from there forward, they're technically concurrent. I
Like, all I
believe.
remember is that I really liked Captain Jack Shepherd. He was like the only reason that I really kept watching Atlantis.
Yeah.
But and then
Not
Jason Momoa's in that, isn't he?
yeah, not skinny
He's the
Jason
alien.
Momoa.
Yeah,
Not shitty Teal'c.
he is shitty Teal,
He is
but
shitty Teal'c all day.
yeah.
Teal'c is so
I mean,
much
he's
better.
definitely not as. I mean, nobody's as good as Teal.
First off, Teal'c is yoked, and his
Teal
whole
is yoked.
family is rad. I love his whole family
Teal is
dynamic.
yoked. He's a superhuman.
Yeah.
He has an alien baby in his belly, and his wife's pretty hot. And he's got a cool ass son.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's a cool master.
yeah, cool master. That's
Braytac.
I recognized him too. The
Yeah.
fucking. It's got a lot of big actors in it.
You know what's even cooler is when you meet Sam's dad,
Oh,
and
okay.
he becomes. I'm not gonna spoil that for you, but he gets a Gould,
Oh,
and he's not a bad guy.
okay.
It's good. It's good. It gets good. All right, dude. What else? What else you been checking out?
I mean that was really it. That's really
Okay.
all I've been checking out. Those are the big things.
Cool.
But yeah, what you been checking out, Jason?
Not too much. Stargate, like I said. I watched a season and a half of ER. I'm currently
Okay.
in the I'm in season 5. I'm currently in the downswings of it because one
Your
of my
boys were left, right? Dr. Green?
no, he dies in a couple seasons. George
Okay.
Clooney leaves this season. But one of the characters I like a lot, who's like he's a student at first. Now he's he's like a resident. He's like teaching someone right now.
Mhm.
And he is randomly a fucking dickhead this season. Like, he's a fucking dick. The
Huh.
season opens up, he's a fucking beard. I'm like, the fuck is this? He's being a piece of shit to his student. Like, he's being a dickhead. Where it's like 4 seasons ago, he was in the same spot, and he was like, he's been a happy-go-lucky, super nice guy, and now he's a fucking piece of shit. So I went to the Reddit of ER, and I posted a question like, hey guys, I'm watching the show for the first time, season 5, Carter's a dick. Does he get better? And everyone's like, no. So you're telling me for 7 more years before he leaves the show, he's a
just
fucking
always a
dickhead. And people are like, yeah, he gets a little bit better. I'm like, I'm fucking done. I have no desire to watch the show now. So it's been a slow burn on the ER front.
Damn.
Plus, knowing that the characters I like George Clooney, leaves. The main doctor I like, he dies. The guy that I like also is a dick. Well, fucking, what the fuck? I don't give a shit about who's coming next then. Fuck John Stamos. I don't give a shit about John Stamos.
John Stamos comes in the show?
Yeah, he comes in the show.
That.
So, ER season and a half of ER, season 4 to season 5. Then I've been watching WandaVision every week. I'm on
right. Yeah.
Episode 4
How's
came
that
out today. Episode 1. I mentioned 1 and 2, but episode
like
3.
4, right? It's 4 right now.
Yeah, episode 3 was 1, 2, and 3 are all like in the world, and then episode 4 is finally payoff to explain what the fuck's happening.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah, but they're also half-hour episodes.
Yeah, but I feel like Mandalorian at least did more shit in like its first 4 episodes. Although, maybe it was the first 2 because I think 3 and 4 were like one-offs. But
the problem is that they're half-hour long.
Yeah,
and
it's also weird.
You're trying to show this reality-bending shit. So episode 3 was all just more like questions for the audience, like kind of like whatever. Mm. Episode 4, we see. Do you remember Captain Marvel's friend, her other pilot friend, the black lady?
Yeah, the black lady.
Yeah, her daughter works for Sword, which is the like space version of Shield.
Okay.
And she got dusted.
Right, she's grown up because Captain Marvel takes place in like the 90s.
Yeah.
Shit.
So she gets dusted, and then the beginning of episode 4, she comes back from being dusted.
What?
Right?
Oh, wait, hold on. She got dusted and undusted?
Well, no, remember, in Infinity War, she got dusted.
Oh,
but you don't see that until now.
So this is like concurrent with Infinity War then?
No, it's flash forward, flashbacks. So the beginning of the episode is her coming back at Endgame when she's being come back from whatever the dust and shit.
Iron Man dies and everybody comes back.
Well, no, Hulk does the snap, but then remember,
oh, yeah,
Iron Man. Hulk brings everyone back. Iron Man kills Thanos. That
Right.
was the thing. So she comes back, and then
Damn, dude, it's been that long.
she goes to fucking Sword again, and they're like, her friend who's the boss of Sword's like, I know I was the only option, I guess, because she should have been the fucking director because her mom at some point started this fucking agency, fucking jerk off session, right? So like, hey, you can't fly because whatever the fuck because you've been dusted for 5 years or some shit. So
That's
you
reason.
have to go work on this little blip in New Jersey. Some crazy shit's happening. She gets there. She meets Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man 2, which is Randall Park's character, the FBI agent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then she gets sucked into there's a town there, and you can see the town, but it's empty. And then it's called Westview, and they're talking to the sheriff, and the sheriff's like, "There's no town called this. It's called Eastview." So clearly something's going on. So she's
Okay.
touching this little force field thing. She gets sucked in, and then you see that from prior episodes, and then it flashes to other episodes that we've seen.
Okay.
And now it's all showing the real world, not this, the actual the MCU world, not Wanda's world,
Hmm.
of all their reactions to what's happening. So they're showing us and connecting the dots to the other episodes that we've seen that are kind of getting weirder and weirder. Uh, this episode we see episode 3, Wanda and Rambo meet and they're talking, and she's like, "Oh, I heard Ultron killed your brother," and she's like, "Ha, you're not from around here, right?" And Wanda's like, "You're not supposed to be here." And then she sends her away, like outside of the force field. But in this episode,
Okay.
they actually show a longer confrontation, which is like, it's all filmed in like 4:3 old school TV, and then they're showing that scene, and the screen widens to regular format TV, and the
Okay.
color comes back in, and Wanda's like talking to her and like using her powers or whatever, and she pushes her through the walls, through the fucking force field, and then Vision comes in the door, and he's dead. Like he's like, he has the hole in his head. He's like out of color, and Wanda
What?
looks at him and
What?
he's like, what? And then she turns the universe back into TV world, so he gets color again. His face is normal again. The aspect ratio comes back. Um, so there's some cool things going on, but it just took too long, in my personal opinion, to get the answers I needed.
Okay.
And I have no clue how many episodes are supposed to be, or if
I
they're
mean,
gonna get longer.
if it's anything with Mandalorian, it's probably be like 8 or 10.
But for half-hour episodes, like 8 episodes is not enough because we're on
Yeah.
4 already.
I mean,
Um,
at least Stranger Things, when it was like 6 episodes, it was like they were hour-long
they were
episodes.
hour-long
So
episodes, if not 45 minutes. They're at least close to that.
that was the problem I had with Mandalorian. Well, also Mandalorian, they were kind of like wishy-washy with their like running times on their episodes. But I mean, most of the time it was between like 30 and 40 minutes. But it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do like a limited episode time, which I'm fine with, but I feel like you should take advantage of the limited episodes and do a longer running
If you're
time.
gonna be on a streaming service, what the fuck are you doing? What
Yeah.
are you doing? You have no commercials. This show has 7 minutes long of fucking credits. 7 minute long credit sequence. I don't
Oh
give
my.
a fuck. Give me content. I pay
Yeah.
money for your fucking service. You're pushing back all these fucking movies. And look, you're fucking doing a terrible job. Fucking make these episodes better. Because now that we're finally getting answers, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna go with this. Because now I know that Wanda's the bad guy. Right now, I
Okay.
mean, we knew that already, but now I know that she's aware of what the fuck's going on. So now I need to
Mhm.
know what the fuck's gonna happen next. How are we gonna get through? They keep talking about Doctor Strange because the next movie she's supposed to be in it.
Mhm.
So I know he's gonna tie in at some point. So it's all this stuff that sounds good on paper, and I'm excited to see it,
But it all
but
depends on the execution.
100%. And right now I'm kind of like, okay, this show's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's WandaVision. Um, I watched the first on Hulu this past Monday for the
Mhm.
first time ever. Really, uh, Freaks and Geeks is on streaming with the
Oh,
original music
nice.
because it has the same problem that like Wonder Years had, which they had a lot of like licensed music. So Hulu got it to show with all the right music, and I watched the first 2 episodes. And I've seen the show before, so it's not like it's nothing new to me. I just haven't seen it since high school. So 15 years or whatever the fuck, uh, something like that. So it's a good show. It's good. Obviously, the cast is who the cast is. Um, I hate Seth Rogen. Don't care about James Franco, but they're fine in this. What it made me do is I watched the first 2 episodes of Freaks and Geeks, and then I immediately went and watched Dazed and Confused. And it's like they're 2 different decades, but they're very similar type of movies or similar type of atmosphere. That Fast Times kind of stuff. So I watched those, Dazed and Confused and Freaks and Geeks.
Okay.
And that's really all I did, man. I didn't do much. It was really light week for me. Mostly listening to music all week, just doing homework.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I think that was a big thing for me too. Is yeah, I hadn't been doing. I mean, outside of like SG-1, which watching through any sort of like show like that, it takes a big chunk of time, so it's hard to like do other stuff. But I actually found out this one. I don't know if you heard of this, and you might not be interested because you hate Evangelion. But I found this guy. I found this guy on YouTube who actually does. He remixes like usually he takes like the instrumental from an Evangelion, some sort of Evangelion track, and he remixes it with Tenacious D songs.
Okay.
And
what a weird ass combo.
And they're really good.
Like Kickaboo / something else.
It's so the ones he's done is he did Master Exploder with I can't remember which Evangelion song. He did Tribute, which is like one of my favorite Tenacious D songs ever. And then he did I can't remember what the song's called. Is it just the history of Tenacious D? I think that's what it is.
I couldn't tell you.
I think it's that one. It's like he did his first and the third ones are the two shorter songs from the Pick of Destiny, and then the second one he did was Tribute. But he did them together, and it's not just like he remixes a song. He also puts like a music video together for each of them, and he does a really good job of like he's mixing in like Tenacious D and like specifically with like the Tribute one is basically like he remixes Tribute so that it's Ray is a demon, like talking to Tenacious D as like their Shinji, and then he has like Jack Black shows up as an angel at one point, and
is it like a YouTuber or like a musician?
No, it's like a YouTube. Hold on, let me link you to the Tribute one. Give me a second. Let me find this link.
This isn't.
But it's like it's on YouTube. He did it, and it's like it's really fucking good. Like I listened to each of his remixes, probably at least like hold on. Ah, shit, what's it called? I'll find it from this. Okay, let me see. This is his third one. There's the second one. Where's copy? Copy the... Alright, so here's... I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Okay.
There's the link.
I'll check it out.
So it's like the whole second one is like... based around the fact that like it basically starts off with like Ray is like the demon in Tribute, so it's like all like through the dialogue and whatnot.
Right.
It's so good. They're so good.
This is not really this, but speaking about Evangelion, that's another show I wish I liked, man. Because people like that shit so much.
I watched it, but it's like I don't dislike it, but I definitely don't see it as like, I don't know. I don't see it as like the god tier content of anime that like most people think it is. I think it's a good show, and maybe that's just because it got from the essence of like it being too hyped up. Of everybody saying it's like it's one of the greatest anime shows ever made, and it's like it's fine, but I think it's like it's got highs and lows. I think the strongest point of it for sure is like the music and like the world building of the actual show and like going into it, but it's just like as far as like episode to episode, like
I try to like it, man. I remember watching it and being like, okay, I watched like the first half of the show, and I remember being like, this is, I mean, All right. People like this. That's fine. I'll go
Yeah.
watch fucking Gundam or something.
Yeah, I mean it's basically like depressing Gundam, but
Yeah,
without like the
yeah.
military shit.
That's the part that I like. I
Yeah,
like the space drama. I like the
yeah,
space opera. I like the fucking watching your girlfriends die in space when their ships explode. I like all that. I like the fucking new type stuff.
hmm
You know, and like then I found out that all the like the Christianity iconography really didn't matter. The guy was just like, yeah,
yeah.
I just looked cool. I was like, okay, all
I
right.
mean, I feel like that's the most thing. I mean, it's like I guess the Matrix probably did really try to go for the Christian imagery, but like most of the time, I feel like people use it because like
Crosses
first
look
of all,
cool.
it's super iconic to use,
Yeah,
and everybody's gonna know what it is. But also like it kind of just looks cool.
it looks cool, man. The crosses look sweet.
Yeah, I mean the crosses look sweet, sweet. It's like people being crucified. I mean, there's
Yeah,
like an innate like
response to
historical
that.
iconography to that most people understand. So
I yeah, man, I don't think I'll ever take that show. A show I really have no. This is gonna be blasphemous because I
oh,
should like it. It's not because I don't like it. I haven't seen it enough to really comment on it. I've seen the
okay,
movie of this show. Okay, I haven't watched the full show. I've seen the first 4 episodes of the show. I
okay,
liked it, but I've seen the movie, and the movie's really fucking good. All right,
okay,
and the music's rad. Can you
okay.
guess what I'm trying to talk about?
A show that has a movie. The music in the movie's rad.
The music of the
Is
whole
this
thing is
anime?
rad. Yeah, it's anime. The music in all of it's rad. Animation's rad. The
Um,
characters are cool. There's no reason why I wouldn't like this thing. I just have not committed to watch it.
movie.
But the same people who made the show made a different show about samurais, and I love that show.
Oh, it's Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, yeah. I've
I feel like the Cowboy Bebop movie is inferior to the show, though.
I, again, Zach. I haven't finished the show.
I mean, I like the Cowboy Bebop a lot. I like the Bebop movie a lot, but I feel like the show for me is more enjoyable. Probably because it's just you get to spend more time with the characters, and I just really like those characters.
I've never finished the show. I've only seen the movie, and I watched the first 4 episodes.
hmm
And I loved the movie. I think the animation was killer. The music was
Yeah, the
rad.
animation's
It looked amazing,
fantastic.
and the show what I saw was really rad too.
hmm
I love Samurai Champloo.
Yeah,
So I know that I would love, and it's everything I like about fucking sci-fi. It's like
yeah.
fucking sci-fi. It's martial arts. It's kung fu. It's fucking
It's Western.
gangsters. It's westerns. Everything about Cowboy Bebop I would fucking love.
Yeah,
But every time I sit down to fucking watch the show, I watch the first 4 and go, man, I'd rather watch something else right now. Not because it's not good. I just don't have. I just never finish it.
yeah.
You know. And I was so mad because I have been restarting my vinyl collection
hmm
because I sold it off a couple years ago.
mm
Like had like 60 and I just sold them to the record store. So I was looking around to find new shit and I've been buying a lot of new stuff. And they put out the whole Cowboy Bebop soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm like, okay, yeah, this is awesome.
that's super rad.
I bought it for pre-order, and I was like, yeah, but I haven't even fucking finished the show.
I mean, the music is so good though.
The music is
Like
great.
even without watching the show, I mean, the music is just so good.
It is great, and I have listened to that soundtrack more. I've listened to the entire soundtrack, but I haven't seen the full show. I know there's some guy named Knives, right? Dagger,
Vicious.
Vicious. Who's
Yeah.
Knives? Who the fuck's that from?
Uh,
Who?
fuck.
That's a
Can't remember.
character from something. Is that from Trigun?
No, it's not from Trigun.
Hey Siri,
Trigun is Vash, and then you
who
got the
who
priest,
who
which
is
is
Vash's enemy?
it's not Knives, is it?
Okay, I found
That's
this on the.
that's not even fucking close to anything I was looking up.
Hold on.
Trigun. Okay, here we go.
Trigun.
Trigun
Knives, is it?
plot. Trigun characters.
Wolfwood. Yeah,
That's-
because the
no.
villain in Trigun is the Blue Summers.
No, Wolfwood is his friend.
Oh, there is a knife. There is a knives in that show.
Millions Knives.
He
Is
is
the
Vash
main-
the Stampede's
Twin brother.
brother.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
main
the.
antagonist.
They both have the
I don't
fucking.
remember him. I remember Legato and I remember Wolfwood because Wolfwood has one of the dopest weapons in the entire thing, which is a giant gun that's shaped like a cross.
Speaking of Christian iconography.
Yeah, there you go.
No, yeah,
Trigun is such a good show. I need to rewatch Trigun
they both
again.
have their fucking angel arms.
That's true.
Yeah, I love that show, man. I knew I knew it was something like that. I fucking knew Knives was a character.
But yeah, it's vicious in Cowboy Bebop. He's got a samurai sword and he's got a giant vulture that's like his pet.
Also, I love their gang name.
Oh, the Red Dragons, I think is what they're called.
Purple Dragons, Red Dragons.
Something Dragons.
I'm thinking of TMNT. TMNT has Purple Dragons, I think.
Yes. Hold on. Now I gotta look it up. It's something Dragon.
Something
I almost
dragon,
feel like
right?
it's just like I feel like it's something more simple than that. Like I feel like it's just like Dragon Syndicate or something like that.
You know what, Zach? Just for the sake of talking about it, next week I'll have a full review.
You're gonna have a full review
of Cowboy Bebop.
Red Dragon. Okay, that was right. It was Red Dragon.
Only took me 20 years
to finally get around to doing
finally finish it. Going to all these anime conventions in high school, and
you can watch it on Sling TV. There you go.
Everyone's like, "Dude, Cowboy Bebop is so fucking good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's so good." Yeah, it's such a great show.
Man, it's great, man.
How about Samurai Champloo? How about that one?
I just love when they play baseball in Samurai Champloo. That shit is great.
Yeah.
I souls, and then Mugen just like fucking decides to just smash a baseball into somebody's head.
I haven't rewatched that show since it came out on TV.
I don't think I watched it for the first time. Sorry, in college. And I don't think I've watched it since then. I've seen snippets of it, and I listen to Nujabee's music all the time. Because his shit always hits my soul. I love that lo-fi shit. But I don't think I've watched it, because I think I watched it when I was like a sophomore or junior in college. And I know I haven't touched it since then. So
I need to finish Bebop before the show comes out.
Yeah, the live action show.
That way I can be...
I don't know when it's coming out, though. I can't remember the last time we heard anything about that show.
Last I heard that is when they stopped filming, and I know they're supposed to start shooting again. I think if they're not ready. But I need to watch the anime so I can be like, yeah, I've seen the anime before. I mean, that's the most popular anime of all time. Like one of the fucking most, like in the top 5 most fucking watched because of fucking Toonami.
It's like up there with like Fullmetal Alchemist, Dragon Ball Z, and Naruto is like some of the most watched anime.
Yeah, and like when I remember I saw an interview of John Cho.
Yeah, because he's playing Spike.
They're talking about that. About him being cast. There was like an IGN interview or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was Googling it, and I saw Reddit questions, and people were like, how do we feel about him being cast as Spike? And I was like, wait, why do people care? I thought Spike was Asian. And I'm like, maybe his name is Spiegel. So I'm like, wait. He's Jewish?
He's not Jewish, but he's not... It's the weird anime thing where it's like, he's not necessarily Asian.
I assume that
nobody in the show is really Asian.
I assume that in the far future,
I think Ain's or not Ain. What's the kid's name? Because Ain's the dog.
I don't know.
Fuck, I can't remember. It's the kid. The kid's like the most Asian out of all of them.
No, I feel like it's in the future where there's just such a crossbreeding of different culture. Yeah. Where Spike's probably like a 4th Japanese or some shit.
Probably something.
You know, like a fit, like because if you're part of the Red Dragon,
he knows Jeet Kune Do, so you know.
Well, so you're part of the Red Dragon organization, and you know JKD. Okay.
Yeah, but then also you've got Vicious, who's like the whitest dude to ever be. That is like he is the head of the Red Dragon Syndicate, but he also walks around with a katana. So
listen, he's half Japanese.
He probably is.
He's half Japanese. Who do you know? So hey, we're in the last week of our underappreciated, underviewed, underwatched science fiction movies. And I want to say this as a preface.
Okay.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
After the fucking sadness that was last week, we are ending on a strong note with this movie, which is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension. Is that the full title?
I believe so.
Something
yes.
like that. It's Buckaroo Banzai, Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. This movie, I think I said it last week, I could be wrong. I'll say this now. This movie has nothing wrong with it. This is a fantastic movie. And any other opinion is wrong. So, Zach, how do you feel about the movie?
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I was very confused at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Because this movie doesn't explain anything.
Yo, it does.
It just jumps you into the world and expects you to catch up.
Did you not read the scroll?
I read the scroll and I'm still confused.
Listen, dude, I'll explain it to you right now. All right?
First of all, the scroll has really nothing to do with the rest of the movie besides the fact that
no, it does.
Buckaroo Banzai has a group of people called the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
Listen, the movie explains everything.
The only part I got from the scroll.
He was a brilliant neurosurgeon who got
also,
bored.
It never comes up again for the rest of the movie except for the fact that he's doing surgery at the beginning.
Yeah. No. He's a surgeon. He got bored, so he traveled the planet.
He decided to be a Renaissance man.
Right? He is literally expert at everything.
Well, he's the character that I was watching this, and I was like, is this really his character? It's just like whatever he touches, he's just instantly good at.
It's insane.
He can sing. He leads a band.
Mm-hmm.
He is smart and knows everything.
Scientist.
He can somehow, well, that's not really him just like being naturally good at everything, but he can see aliens before anybody else can. Uh-huh. He also has some weird electricity powers that for some reason do not go away, even though he's touched multiple people and it just keeps happening. And even when the danger is averted, he still has electricity running through his entire body. I enjoyed the movie a lot. It was weird to get into at first.
The movie...
I expected there to be more setup, and the lack of setup was confusing for me.
This movie is...
The movie starts off with him running into a goddamn mountain.
This movie...
He goes into a mountain, which is apparently a portal to another dimension where there are alien creatures inside.
No. He makes a portal.
Yes, into a mountain.
It could be anywhere, though.
It has to be a solid object.
He's just traveling through the space in an object. They explain the whole thing. They explain it. This movie...
Very vaguely.
From the beginning of the movie, he goes 500 miles an hour and goes faster than that. That's the movie.
Right, because there's some new prototype rocket car that they made.
This whole movie is non-stop balls to the wall. If you ain't on board, get the fuck off this train.
Well, like the second scene after that is they go to play in a club and then the girl tries to kill herself.
Yes. And he's like, listen.
And then she fails because a waitress knocks her arm and then she's accused of killing our hero.
They're at the fucking club. Right before the gig,
also,
he just
the plot of this movie, the fashion is on point. On point, 100%. I wish I could wear what Buckaroo Banzai wears. That is some fucking sharp.
He has a fucking posse of full-grown men with different expertise who don't have any other life.
First of all, none of their expertise are explained.
Yeah, they are.
Not to me, they weren't.
You got the fucking
very clearly.
Jeff Goldblum.
What does Perfect Tony do?
He's perfect.
God damn it, that's not an explanation.
He's perfect.
What does Apache do?
Anything he wants.
That's not an explanation.
Listen, man.
New Jersey is just a doctor. He doesn't count. Also, it's Jeff Goldblum.
He traveled the world and found people. And when he says in the beginning of the movie to Jeff Goldblum in the middle of neurosurgery, hey.
Yes, he does.
I thought about, we got an open spot. You got an open spot? Can you sing? Can you dance? Yo, what the fuck? I'm in. This is the best movie.
Jeff Goldblum can't sing. He can only dance.
Yeah.
But...
So, this movie apologizes for nothing.
And it takes no prisoners.
This movie says, listen, if you ain't on board, guess what? You ain't part of the fucking Hong Kong team. You ain't part of Team Banzai.
This movie goes 0 to 60 in about 5 minutes, and once it goes to 60, it doesn't slow down. It just keeps going faster and faster.
The beauty of this movie that I think it's amazing, is that they play by their universe's rules, which are there are no rules.
That's
Which
true.
is this. Everybody loves Buckaroo Banzai. Everyone loves
He's
him
like
in the world.
a world hero.
He is a famous everything. He has
has
a
comic
comic
books
book.
written about him.
He has the president on his speed dial. He is everywhere.
The president asks him for advice.
He lives in his little small town, and the people fucking know him, and they're willing to help him out, and fucking they're
Also, he has like a group of like voluntary militiamen that he
Yes.
just says, call them up, and then a small child
Mhm.
comes to help him and carries a gun.
This movie, Buckaroo Banzai, The Adventures of Him and His Team.
I want another Buckaroo Banzai movie.
It is amazing. It is so
They
much
also
fun.
tease you to the fact that there's supposed to be a second one, and there was never a second one made.
Yeah. This movie is such a good time. It is such a fun time, and if you ask too many questions, that's your own fault. Because it's a kind of cult classic, underappreciated sci-fi movie that you go, you know what? It's in the same vein as Big Trouble, which is like, this is a fucking goof movie, and it's awesome, and it's a good time, and it's rad, and their explanation in Big Trouble's, it's magic, right? In this movie, it is just science. It's futuristic science. And
well, their explanation is it's aliens.
It's aliens who travel via the 8th dimension from planet 10 or whatever the fuck.
Something, but then they travel from the 8th dimension, but then they're also in our dimension, but they have a planet in our dimension, planet 10. I thought.
Let's be real. The cast
or
of this
that
movie,
in a
dude,
different dimension.
The cast of this movie. You got three.
John Lithgow as a villain,
and you got fucking Christopher Lloyd,
and Christopher Lloyd, and you got Jeff Goldblum, and you got
Peter Weller,
and you got whoever plays his weird Japanese mentor scientist.
The movie
Hijikata.
There's such funny moments in this movie too, where like the fact that the president is always in the fucking back stretcher.
That shit is so
the entire time. Like, he doesn't want to get out. He's like, no, I gotta stay in this thing. And
Buckaroo, he's just constantly going up and down.
And when Buckaroo calls him the second time, he's like, I apologize. I know your back hurts. It's like, dude.
That's the only explanation you get. He's like, oh, his back hurt. All right, that's why he's in the thing. His back hurts.
It's like part They Live, part any other science fiction movie.
I got that shit with They Live for sure, especially when they get to the fact that it's like, you know, the aliens disguise themselves as humans, and then you need a particular thing. In this place, it's like a chemical that you breathe that like lets you be able to see the aliens as they are.
It is unfiltered fun. Here's how
unapologetic.
The fun is instant. The moment that he does neurosurgery with laser beams, and then
he does do
cuts to him. You don't see his face. And he's wearing the fucking ski mask, balaclava, whatever, and he gets in the fucking fast truck.
He puts his bandana on.
Yep. And then you finally see his face afterwards. But dude, I just, the idea of a team of dudes, just fucking, it reminds me so much of Dragon Sound. Just a bunch of fucking dudes.
That's what I kept thinking.
Hanging out.
This is like a more common version of fucking
Miami Connection. Miami Connection.
What?
Miami Connection?
Miami Connection. Yeah, it's like a more competent version of Miami Connection. It's like the same shit, where it's like, there's fucking guys, and they all travel together, and they fucking, like, fight crime and shit, but they also are in a band together, and they, like, play concerts at a club, and, like, everybody loves them, and knows who they are.
And fucking puts it on steroids, because not only are...
But this also introduces aliens into that fucking smorgasbord.
But not only does Buckaroo have a career in neurosurgery, a career in music, a career as a scientist, as a test pilot. He has a fucking walled off compound where him and his Team Bonsai crew defend the planet. And they're always carrying fucking guns.
That's the other thing is that, yeah, unlike Miami Connection, these guys are always packing heat.
Like in the fucking club scene, they all pull out pistols except for Buckaroo.
Oh my gosh.
And then when he does get his pistol, he's a fucking 6-shooter. Like he's a cowboy now. He is a fucking bow tie wearing.
Well, he did
cowboy.
get it from Jeff Goldblum, who has a 6-shooter and then also a regular pistol, which is not very cowboyish.
Yeah, I think that this movie is so crazy and bizarre. And I understand why it didn't do well, but I absolutely see that it has everything that makes a good cult movie.
Yeah.
It has everything. I wish, though, I really, really wish, and I was bummed out when I first saw the movie years ago, and I was bummed out rewatching it, because when they're in the elevator going up to play the gig, and fucking Peter Weller's fucking looking so snazzy, and he's fucking walking through the crowd, and he's kissing the girl, and he's fucking doing his spins and shit, and everyone's like, oh, Buckaroo, yeah, yeah, yeah. They hand him the guitar, even though he had the guitar at the bottom of the elevator. He's playing his guitar, like they're hanging out in the fucking crew, and then they hand him the guitar again upstairs. Okay, whatever. Inconsistency, fine. The actual songs themselves are not good enough to be in this movie.
They're not Dragon Sound, that's for sure.
They're not fucking Dragon Sound. And
if this Dragon movie, Sound, I can listen to Dragon Sound all day.
If this movie had Dragon Sound style quality,
dude, if this movie had like Friends Forever, oh my god.
If this movie had fucking...
If this movie had Enter the Ninja...
fuck, it would be Dunzo. Automatic fucking... I'm getting it on Blu-ray for sure. I mean, I already do, but my point is that, like...
I think I would enjoy it more if it had Enter the Ninja, for sure.
So...
If it had its own Enter the Ninja.
The movie had... What about the movie, Zach, does it not have that you like, dude? It has everything that you want.
I think the problem is that it has everything that I want, but it took too long for me to understand what was going on. It was like an hour before I was like, oh, okay, this is what the main plot of the movie is.
So you don't like the fact that he married a twin sister to the girl, and then she...
That shit is so dumb. That makes no sense. So first of all, he has a dead wife that is not explained until an hour into the movie.
No.
First of all,
no, it's
I'm
explained.
not convinced that that's not his wife that has amnesia or some shit.
It's explained,
because they definitely say that nobody knew that she had a twin sister at all, and she makes some vague claims to like knowing who he is and all this other dumbass shit.
It's explained.
It makes it seem like she just lost her memory.
It's explained. He says in the bathroom when she's like freaking out about the picture she sees
when
of
she's
her,
like losing her goddamn mind.
He says to her, and I quote, no, not necessarily quote. I'm paraphrasing. He explains it perfectly well. Are you ready for the explanation?
I'm always ready.
Okay, Buckaroo says to fucking Penny, or he calls her Peggy.
Peggy Pretty.
He says...
No, well, that's because his ex-wife's name is Peggy.
He says, I married your twin sister who looked just like you, and that's enough. And that's enough of that.
These are not explanations!
Yes, it is! We're playing by Buckaroo Banzai universe rules, Zach, okay? That's the rule, dude. That's the rule. And that's once you're on board with it,
for the things
once
that
you're
are
on
happening.
board with it, it's okay. What's wrong? What else could go wrong?
It's fine.
No,
it's fine.
There are fine movies. This is not a fine movie.
No, it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. I had a good time with it. Especially at the end.
It takes itself zero serious, and that's the beauty of it.
Oh, this movie it does not take itself seriously at all.
As there's no seriousness in it, it's all goofy. Everyone is having a good time, at least from the visuals. I'm not sure how it actually was, but it's all just a fun time. It's stupid. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Also, the good guy aliens are, first of all, they're racistly called the black aliens, and then they also take the form of black
people, Jamaican dudes. The best part of the last bit of the movie, because I think the whole movie is a masterpiece, but in a much different way, that like Miami Connection's a masterpiece. This is also a masterpiece, but in a better way, is that the end credits of the movie when they're all walking in the fucking whatever.
That shit is so nonsensical.
That shit is so anime.
Oh, it's anime as
But
fuck.
the music is not anime enough.
No, well, the music is
like a little,
80s,
like a little
generic 80s pop song, like, but the visuals are anime as hell.
There has to be someone who edited the version of anime music. There has to be. I'm gonna fucking Google it.
I imagine it's out there.
If I find it, I'm gonna send it to you, because there has to be someone who edited it, and if there isn't one, I have to make one. Because that whole scene of them walking together, Also, they don't explain how what's his name is able to walk now.
Yeah, Rawhide just comes back,
Like,
even though he definitely died.
I couldn't tell if it's because like, okay, this is who's in the movie. These are all the actors in the movie, so that's what it is, like a cast walk off.
Yeah, I don't know, because nobody else. I don't think anybody else in the team died. It was just him.
Just him.
But yeah, he comes back and he's like mysteriously walking.
I think it's just.
But I feel like it's supposed to be, because they tease a sequel, I think.
Yeah.
Which also didn't happen, which I'm kind of sad about, because I would actually be excited to watch
They're
more.
making the comic books, dude. Comic book.
Okay, I was trying to figure that out. Is this based off a comic book?
No,
or was
but
there a comic book made of it?
No, but they're making a comic book more. They're making more comic books of it.
They're making more, like currently, present day.
I believe they just announced it like 2 weeks ago. They're making a sequel.
Who's making it?
I don't remember. Hold on. I remember seeing it recently, I thought.
Fuck, I would read
Buckaroo Banzai, Dark Horse Comics, an official sequel to the 1984 film. Oh, hold on.
Are they going to draw Peter Welling?
Or
is it Weller? I can't remember.
Oh, I lied. It's a 544-page hardcover prose novel.
Huh.
It's by the guy who wrote the screenplay for the movie and the novelization of the film. Oh, it's a book. Oh yeah.
It's a book?
I'm all about this. I would rather read a book than a comic book all day.
It's a novel?
Yeah. August 10th. August 10th is coming out. So I'm all about that. I'm all about, because as a would-be, wannabe trash author, this to me is like the perfect. It's like Bill and Ted and this are the perfect combinations of stuff you can write, because you can write whatever the fuck you want.
That's true. Yeah.
And you'd be like, how's it explained? It's Buckaroo Banzai. That's how it's explained. Oh, how did he picked the lock? How did he do it? It's Buckaroo Banzai. You know, when I was in Thailand, I learned how to do it, or something. You can bullshit like that. So yeah, I love this movie. You say it's fine. That's whatever. That's fine.
It's a fun movie. I had a good time watching it.
Well, Zach, any final thoughts on this movie before we end the podcast and end underappreciated, underviewed sci-fi movies?
No, not too much about it. I think if you guys want to watch this movie, you should do some research. Otherwise, you're not going to know what's going on. But, if you're willing to go with the flow, then maybe you would prefer to watch it like that. But
I would say go with the flow. Know nothing of the movie coming into it. Much like Miami Connection, know nothing of it when you come into it. And you'll have a good time.
That's true.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back next week with more License of You.
Yes.